Hey, the Muffin Show here. So the Unicorn Pack finally released, and this is the first game with this new pack. As you can see, because it is a new pack, and a lot of you may not be very familiar with the pets or know what they all do, when I see new pets or abilities, like here, there's the toys, I pause to give you guys a chance to read what everything does. If you need more time, then by all means, pause the video. So this initial game, I liked the beetle is like Archimedes or something like that. The blue pet, the warg, it's an alright pet. I think it's in a good place at tier 1. Its starting stat line isn't great, but it does have some basic synergies with mana. Overall, this pack has been a lot of fun to play. I have a lot of thoughts on some of the pets. I like the mana system. I like how it has multiple purposes, and I think I like its implementation better than the trumpet system with the golden retriever. I think having pets get the mana and having it deal damage, I don't know. For some reason, it's felt better. So I don't run into it here, but there is a pet in tier 1 it's some sort of hound. I don't remember its exact name, but if your opponent has more than one pet of the same pet on their team, it does 10 damage, which is kind of an insanely strong ability as a tier 1. I guess the idea is, prior to this releasing, the best strategy was almost always to get up pairs so that you could get ideally 2 triples on turn 3, and I guess they want to punish that. Right now I'm hovering over a pet called the Mana Hound. Mana Hound has been very good. There's a lot of role synergy pets here. I try the Skeleton Dog, which I don't like the Skeleton Dog. It just seems like a bad giraffe, mostly because you don't really control where the buff lands unless you put it towards the end, which makes it easier for it to get like messed with, like the pets behind it to get sniped. And if you have it in the back, there's a chance it might not faint, and so you might not get any benefit out of it. It is a pet that will be decent with praying mantis builds and custom, and that's something that I'm going to want to try. A lot of these pets are kind of more obscure mythological creatures, so it's hard to remember them since everyone's very new to this pack because it just came out. The one that's the serpent in the bathtub seems pretty decent. 1/5, it's basically like the pug, which was the major difference is that it doesn't have much attack, while the pug has attack. Its original version. Its current version, it got bumped to a higher tier, and it's a lot more balanced now. But I think even though the serpent in the tub doesn't have that much attack, just being able to give experience to the pet in front feels pretty good. I like the cracked egg as a tier 1, largely because I played Yu-Gi-Oh! As a kid, and I really like the toon archetype, and one of the toons there is a dragon in like an egg, And it makes me think of that, like Ryu Car, or Ryu Ran, I think, is what it was. Take a loss there, but we got a pretty decent start, it seems like. Hovering over the porridge, which felt very strong. The visitor, initially, like the first couple games, I didn't really like the visitor, but I've really come around to it. The chimera is a really, really strong pet. My prediction is that it's going to dominate the meta for like another day or two from when this video is released. But like a week from now, everyone's going to be playing Mandrakes because Mandrake annihilates Chimera. And then it's just going to flow back and forth. Ouroboros looked good until I realized that the added health is gone after the battle. And so it kind of sucks. That's the Mandrake that I was just talking about. Daze keeps the ability from activating, so later in the game, when they put 24 mana on their level 3 Chimera, your opponent, it just doesn't activate. And they lose like 75, 150 in stats, and it's the easiest fight ever. I have a game later that it's not a particularly strong game. I don't do particularly well. I do fine. But I had level 3 Mandrake, and there were 4 or 5 battles that game where my opponent had Chimera, and I just annihilated their Chimera. And so if you're playing it and you're getting frustrated and you're losing to Chimeras, just run a Mandrake. It will solve most of those problems. The little brain guy, I want to call him like a brain bug. I know that's the from like Starship Troopers, and that's not this thing. It's like brain cramp or something like that. It's essentially an ox. It's very strong. Ox has been either one of the strongest pets or just a very good pet. And it's the same. Especially considering that this pack, there's a lot of pets that give debuffs. Just being able to jump to the front and negate that is very strong. So I would recommend running some brain cramps, even if it's just temporary. The fish in front, I don't remember what it's called, but it's like the fish with like fur. Its ability is it gives the pets behind it 1 if it's level 1, and then as you level up, it affects more pets. Before they attack, they get 3 mana. So it's quite good. And so here, even though our Chimera is just a level 1, the stats, being able to convert mana just straight to stats, not even just a 1-to-1, because you get 2 health per mana, is really, really good. The Cali Greyhound, I've kind of played around with it a bit, but it's felt kind of underwhelming. Mostly just because there's another pet in this pack, the Kraken, that lowers health of pets. Its ability is, for each level it has, it reduces all pets' health by 20%. And then if you get all the way to level 3, it's 60% for every pet. It's just so much better. And so I never actually end up going with that other pet. The mana just doing damage, it's not that much better. So looking at the treasure chest, that is an interesting high roll. It's off of the Griffin pet. That's a tier 3, I believe. If you get to at level 1, it's the level 344. That's a tier 2. If you get all the way to a level 3 Griffin, and then you sell the Griffin, you get a level 3 map. Once that map breaks, it gets you a treasure chest that the reward for the treasure test is a 1212 level 3 tier 6 pet, which, I mean, you can kind of whiff on it, but I feel like there's going to be a lot of high roll games playing around with the Griffin. Team Spirit, this is one of the 2 pets that this video was made for. When another pet levels up, it gives all of your pets, besides itself, it gives all of its friends 1 attack and 2 health, and it's really good. I think it's going to get nerfed in the future, especially once you see its interaction with the other pet that I'm going to get. Like, my team is, like, middling here. It's not bad, but it's not terribly good. But as soon as I get those pets, it just, like, rockets to the moon. Our brain cramp is kind of carrying us right now. But as that last battle showed, Chimera and Brain Cramp, they get stuff done. Here I try out the mana potion. I'm going to be honest, I don't understand how the mana works. My guess is I think it just halves each round, but I don't know. The Quetzalcoatl, I don't know how to say that. It's the Aztec god of, like, the wind and of a bunch of different things. I think it's the god that when Christopher Columbus, was it Christopher Columbus? They, like, sacrifice a ton of Aztecs to this god to try and intervene. I don't know. I don't remember the story well enough, but maybe someone out there knows what I'm talking about and can put it in the comments. So over halfway there in wins. And but what it does is it gives a tier 3 or lower pet 2 experience at the end of turn. It's important that the experience is permanent, and this leads to some pretty crazy things, especially considering that some, like Brain Cramp, is a tier 3 pet, so it can hit that. The furred fish thing, it can hit that. The behemoth is kind of a... It just feels like an old school bison. Its, like, gimmick is that it can go up to 100, but I have yet to see a behemoth in any of these games that has more than 50-50 in stats. It just doesn't seem to be something that happens very often. So I think it's a cool idea, but it's mostly just like a generic scaling pet. But seems pretty decent. The Manticore is a strong pet. It makes enemy elements magnitudes times worse. So at level 1, it's 2 times worse, and then that increases. Here I grab the lucky cat. I don't understand what they're thinking with the lucky cat. It's really absurd. It's because I think it's supposed to be that when you level up, it gets 2/2 stats for the next battle, and then you get 1 gold. So kind of like a better jellyfish, but the stats aren't permanent. But it does get you gold, kind of like the swan. Uh, but no, the stats are just permanent. It's just a dramatically better jellyfish, and I don't understand what they're thinking. It's so much stronger than it should be. So I lose this fight. You can see without something that's giving a bunch of mana onto my Chimera is just like not doing anything. So I go ahead and get rid of it. Here I'm just showing you what the Minotaur and the Mothman do before I grab the other quid, whatever it is. I'll have to look up that pronunciation at some point, considering I think it's going to be around for a while, unless they like hard nerf it. Here I give 1 chocolate to the lucky cat, so now it's gained 4 experience total, and so it'll be level 3. And so yeah, those other pets got +4, +8 in 1 turn. The lucky cat scaled 6/6 +4 +8, so 10, 14 in stats that turn, and I'll get an additional 3 gold. So it's kind of silly. I didn't talk about it when it popped up, but they're one of the tier 6 pets, the cornucopia. It has the effect that when you buy it, you look at 2 tier 6 foods from any pack and you pick one. It's my favorite level 6 food. It's my favorite food from this pack. There's a lot of interesting foods, but I like that one a lot. I think that's a really interesting design. Big brain cramp is getting it done. I do like that when you level up, it freezes both of the options, rather than it just being lost. It's a nice. They didn't have to do it that way. It would be one way to kind of nerf these leveling up abilities, but I think it would be really frustrating if they didn't have that, and so I like it. This build here with the Quetzalcoatl or whatever and the team spirit, I think the one reason it feels so strong in this first game is just because this pack doesn't have very many strong ways to scale pets. It has a lot of very strong synergies, but this is the only build that I found through playing it so far that has really just scales a lot of stats, and it's pretty cool that it's the first game. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. I'm planning to come out with a bunch more of these Unicorn Pack videos. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.